so don't mind the mess. It's kind of been hell with this car. It's really been all over the place. Today I would really like to tackle checking out the health of the engine, making sure everything's good, taking a look on the inside, taking off both valve covers, and trying to get some of this cleaned up. We need to make sure that the engine is healthy. First I want to start with taking the spark plugs out, and then getting a camera inside each of the cylinders and making sure that those are all good. Ooh, that coil already is no good, so hopefully they can all go better than that. I mean, I needed new coils anyway, so I'll get a whole new set. Yeah, that just popped right out of the coil. So let's actually get started on taking the driver's side out. Start with the first cylinder, which I think this is cylinder 5. Oh yeah, it's got a lot of carbon buildup. There's our 6th cylinder. 7th. The gap isn't really consistent with these. Not too bad. We know she runs and drives because I had her parked in the curb, not running and driving, and I drove it up my driveway, so we know for a fact she runs and drives. But what we want to figure out is the health of the engine. And there's 8. There we go. Again, they're all looking the same. Pretty consistent in looks. They're just really black. Definitely need to be replaced, but would go back in temporarily just to plug them up. And then there's the last one. Yeah, so they all pretty much just look like that. It's pretty healthy. So I don't know what cylinder I'm looking at exactly. That's what we're seeing on the top of the piston. It actually looks pretty fresh. See a little bit of scoring on the walls, but that's perfectly normal. Again, here's another angle. So this piston we're looking at is at its compression stroke, so it's all the way at the top, but the top of it looks good. There's no buildup or anything, nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's just pretty good. Move on to the next one. Again, just scoring on the walls, nothing too crazy. Top of the piston looks healthy. And then we'll also do a compression test at some point. It's not going to be today though. That one looks good. This one, again, under compression stroke. Almost at the top. Not bad at all. So again, same thing. This one's under compression stroke. There does look like to be a little bit more pitting on the top of this one than the other ones, but again, that's fine. This one looks healthy through mid-stroke. There's something right here on the edge. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know what exactly. Yeah, all of them look healthy. So, all right. So we got our camera in each cylinder. All of them appear to be healthy. They look good, but looks can always be deceiving. I'd always recommend doing a compression test, especially on an engine that's been sitting for a while. So we will do that. Not today. There's a couple things I gotta get. So yeah, you always want to do a compression test because looks can always be deceiving. You will really know the health of each piston based off a compression test. So we'll do a compression test. I'm not gonna do that today, but I do want to get probably these valve covers popped off and just look at the top. So it's 11 now. Alright, so don't judge me. I can't find my freaking 1/4 inch adapter. So I gotta run a whole bunch of bits just to get it right. Wiggle all of these, make sure there's no play. So we have a play in 2 lifters. 1. And that one's a little bit of play. Alright, so we got all the spark plugs put back in, temporarily hand tight. We have the valve covers put back on. So now I think it's time we start getting underneath the car and pull the oil, see how much oil it has, and then also see what comes out of the oil. According to the previous owner, this engine was rebuilt years back, not too far back, probably like 10 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. So the engine should be pretty healthy for the most part, but you don't want to just go off somebody else's word. You actually want to inspect all this stuff to yourself. Anytime you buy a new car, you should do the oil change, unless you get it from a dealership. Then I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get underneath it and start draining the oil. This actually oil is not bad at all. It's actually new. So the oil was changed. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and consider all of this no good anyways. There's no I'm not seeing any metal shavings at all. It all looks really healthy. Yeah, this oil is brand new. It's got that syrup looking color to it still. Smells a little gassy though. That can't be good. If you guys have any ideas, go ahead and let me know down in the comments on other things I should check for the health. I do want to do the transmission, get the oil pan off the transmission drop, get the oil pan off with the motor dropped, and just see the bottom end of the motor. Make sure everything's healthy. The oil does smell like gas though. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know. I gotta really do some research, but for the most part, everything's looking healthy other than it cosmetically, it looks like shit. I do know for a fact that the carburetor does leak, so we need to rebuild the carburetor, drain all the coolant, get the coolant replaced and all that. So first thing I'm gonna start out with on a later date is getting all the coils, the distributor and the coils replaced, and then rebuilding the carburetor, dropping the bottom end of the engine, dropping the oil pan, take a look on the underside, and then same thing with the transmission. And then just get everything topped off, correct oil levels, and then do some troubleshooting of the brakes. Make sure that the brakes are all good. Bleed them all, make sure we're getting fluid everywhere. But yeah, on a later date, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll start going over everything else mechanically, making sure that the transmission is going through the gears, replacing fuel lines, replacing the fuel tank. Let this motor get up to temperature, find out what is leaking, figure out what we need to rebuild. Little stuff like the gauge cluster, making sure that works, headlights, tail lights, fog lights, high beams, all that kind of stuff. And then of course we're gonna do a compression test. My main thing is I would like to find out if the motor is healthy or not. That way I can budget for that. I haven't really dove in too much into the motor, which is why I'm doing this video. Just making sure that we do have a healthy motor, but you really can't tell until you do a compression test. The compression test is the biggest thing. It'll let you know what cylinders are bad. So we'll definitely do a compression test on a later date. But we'll get back into it cosmetically, getting all this rust off, getting it primered, and then we'll really start focusing on the brakes, putting the new wheels on, and getting all of that situated. But yeah, if you guys happen to enjoy the video, please leave a like. If you guys are new to the series and you're enjoying it, feel free to subscribe. You don't have to, but it really does. I really do appreciate it. It does help out. Motivates me to come back out here and just keep working on this car. So yeah, peace out, guys.